Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, about a week ago, our book club, New Possibilities Book Club, read Native Son by Richard Wright. And what I'm going to do is provide a review of this book. And also, I'm going to highlight some of the points that came up during our discussion. Before I get into this video, I want to encourage each and every one of you to like our Facebook page, New Possibilities Book Club. I will post the link in the description and in the comments to the most recent invite. And that's on Facebook. If you are not on Facebook and you would like to participate in our discussions, please let me know. You can leave your email address in the comments, or you can email me directly using the subject line book club, and I will send you the link to the Zoom meeting. And we meet on the last Sunday of each month at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our next meeting is on October 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, we meet via Zoom, and hopefully soon we'll be able to meet in person as well, have hybrid meetings, in-person meetings for the people in the Baltimore area, and virtual meetings for people out of town. So let's get right into it. This book is a classic. You know, the fact that this book has stood the test of time, that's a testimony to how great this book is and how influential the book is. That book was written, Native Son was written back in 1940. And here we are in 2022, and people are still talking about the book. You know, it's still mandatory reading in some schools and all that kind of stuff because it deals with very compelling, powerful issues. So I'm going to provide a summary of what this story is about the plot, and then I'm going to highlight some key social commentary that's made through this particular book and also raise some criticism of the book. So basically, this story is about a young black man who's from a very poor family in Chicago. And this family lives in a one-room apartment, not a one-bedroom, but literally a one-room apartment. And he shares this apartment with his mother, his sister, and his brother. And the quarters are so cramped, it's like when they want to change clothes, like the mother has to turn her back, and when the mother wants to change clothes and the daughter wants to change clothes, the two young men have to turn their back. And the main character, his name is Bigger Thomas, and he is a 20-year-old black man. And again, they are living in this poor community. They are poor. This apartment that they live in is rat infested. It's a slum property. This brother has very little education. If I recall correctly, I think he only completed the 8th grade. And so the family is struggling. They're on public assistance, and the mother is looking to Bigger to be a provider in the household. So she manages to get him a job opportunity being a driver for this rich white family, the Daltons. And so, so this is a great opportunity for him. He will make and this is during the 40s, he will make like $20, I think it was a week, plus $5 for himself. So the 20 would go to his family to help out his family. And so he has an opportunity. And the thing is, he's a troubled young man. He is like a lot of the young people in struggling communities today. He is dealing with poverty. So he hustles and does what he has to do to make money, like committing petty thefts and all that kind of stuff. And so he gets this job opportunity to be a driver for this family. And so on his first day on the job, he's asked to drive Mr. Dalton's daughter to school, but his daughter decides that she wants to do something else. She has him drive to pick up her boyfriend, who is a communist. And this is during the height of the Cold War, where you had this anti-communist sentiment. So he's a communist, and he's an ultra liberal, radical white person at the time. And so instead of going to the school, again he goes to pick up her boyfriend, and then they go to a black restaurant. And the thing is, this white man, the white boyfriend is insisting that they go to this black establishment, go to a black establishment so they can see how the Negro lives. And they're acting all super liberal with him, unlike most of the white people at that time. They are like renouncing segregation, and they're basically trying to treat him like a full human being and all that kind of stuff. And he's uncomfortable with that because this is at the height of Jim Crow. So they're like trying to treat him like a regular person. So they hang out, they go to this restaurant, they drink, and, they overindulge, to the point where the daughter, and her name is Mary Dalton, she gets drunk, she's intoxicated. So they drop off the white man, to his home, and the white man's name is Jan. They drop him off at his home. And then, Bigger takes Mary back home to the Daltons. And she's so intoxicated that he has to help her to her room. So he helps her to her room. And then, once he gets her to her room and he's getting her in the bed and everything like that, there's some sexual tension and some sexual actions that take place on his part. Like he's touching her breasts and he's kissed her, and she's intoxicated. Like she's, basically unable to legally consent. So he's basically fondling her while she's intoxicated, and he puts her in the bed. And then while he is putting her in bed, her mother comes into the room, and I can't remember her mother's name, but she is legally blind. She can't see. So she goes into the room and she's calling out Mary's name and trying to see if everything is okay, but she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't even know for sure that Mary is back. But she hears something, and so she's moving in that direction. So Bigger, in a panic, he puts a pillow over her face, over Mary's face to quiet her because she's like moaning and stuff like that, because he is terrified. He's terrified that, he just got this job with this wealthy white family, and he doesn't want them to think he's in there committing some kind of sexual act against Mary. So he puts this pillow over her head and ends up smothering her to death. So that's all I'm going to say about the plot, and then, there's a whole chain of events, things go from bad to worse. It's a lot of suspense, and it's a lot of action, and it's like a thriller. Like if you were to watch a thriller on television, that's how I would describe this. But it's also powerful. It also deals with social commentary, as I said in the beginning. And it turns out that Mr. Dalton is one of the key owners of the real estate company that rents this particular property to Bigger's family. So that's the gist of the plot, so you had a situation where this white rich girl is killed by Bigger, and things go from bad to worse. And this whole book is like a tracking of his whole journey and his whole turmoil, his flight from the authorities and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it goes into a lot of things. So one of the things that a couple of things come up in this story. They deal with, the stereotype of the black man as a sex crazed creature, this, the beast that desires white women, who has this uncontrollable lust for white women. So that's one of the themes in this book. Like that's a constant theme in the book, and it's out of the fear of this stereotypical lust that black men have for white women, that is part of the reason why they set up the whole Jim Crow system. And, this book talks about the role of the press in stoking racial hatred. It deals with poverty, it deals with racism, it deals with the treatment of black women, how black women's lives are not regarded well in society, not only by the dominant white society, but by some black men as well. So this particular book deals with a lot of compelling subject matter. It deals with the role of religion. Religion comes up in this as well, because, this main character, Bigger, basically rejects Christianity. And there's one compelling scene in this book where he sees a burning cross. A cross is on fire, like a cross that like the KKK would light. It's a cross lit by, white supremacists. So he sees this burning cross. But at the same time, a priest comes to try to comfort him. A black pastor tries to comfort him by giving him a cross and, preaching to him about the word and all that kind of stuff. But when he looks at the cross, he's reminded of that burning cross that the white supremacists used to terrify him, to scare him and all that kind of stuff. So he renounces Christianity, by throwing this cross and all that kind of stuff. So it has a lot of powerful messages about Christianity and its impact on black communities. Also, one of the things that Bigger talks about is like the role of Christianity, like how, in a lot of the black churches, all he got from it was like singing and praise and shouting and all that kind of stuff. But nothing material changed in his life or the lives of poor people that go to these churches and stuff like that. So it is a very powerful book that deals with a whole lot of issues. The issue of the death penalty, that's an issue raised in this book. The role of white liberals. Like, one of the key characters in this book, again, is the father, Mr. Dalton, and the thing is, this guy is what many people would consider a white liberal because he donates a lot of money to black education and all that kind of stuff. He gives things to black community centers, for instance. But at the end of the day, this quote unquote white liberal is just as racist as the rest of society because he's a slumlord. He, participates in housing segregation by refusing to rent to African Americans in certain communities, but only allows African Americans to rent his properties that are in these poor, struggling communities. And then on top of that, he charges black people more for the same type of housing that he would charge white people less for. So there's a lot of hypocrisy that's called out in this particular book. And one of my concerns with this book was just like whether or not it actually combated, the stereotypes of black men or helped perpetuate them by giving us a character like Bigger, somebody who is ignorant, someone who is uneducated, someone who is violent, someone who is a criminal and all that kind of stuff. By making him as the lead character, I wondered if it was perpetuating stereotypes. And I've seen a couple of other reviews on this particular book, and one person said that it's a very depressing story and all that kind of stuff. And that's a valid point. It is depressing, but the fact of the matter is life doesn't always have a happy ending. life is not always, rainbows and unicorns and all that kind of stuff. There are challenges in life. So, yeah, so I want to encourage you all to check out that book if you haven't read it. It's a book that I had been meaning to read a very long time ago. And I'm glad that I've had an opportunity to read it with the book club. We had a great, thorough discussion about this book. And if you enjoy, again, reading great books by Black authors, and you enjoy great discussions with great people, I want to encourage you to like our Facebook page, New Possibilities Book Club. Our next book will be The Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler. That's the second part to her series. And the first part was The Parable of the Sower. So I encourage you all, if you're interested, to like the Facebook page and join our next discussion, which will be on October 30th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. Again, if you are interested, please let me know. I will post the invite in the comments and in the description to this video. If you're not on Facebook, please email me at newpossibilitiesblog@yahoo.com, or you can leave your email address in the comments and I will email you the link to the Zoom. So with that, peace and blessings. Have a great day. And please rate, comment, subscribe, like the channel, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content on here. That is very important, because otherwise you may not even know if I post a video, because YouTube is playing games. So anyway, hit that notification bell. Peace and blessings, and I will be back soon with more new, fresh content. Peace and blessings. Have a great weekend.